The Observer has put up an article. No. As there's a story going about, there was a story, I think, yesterday in the Metro about Adam Kelwick, who hugged a protester outside a mosque in Liverpool, outside the Abdullah Quilliam Mosque, Liverpool, and Britain's oldest mosque. And there are about 50 protesters who approached the mosque, and Adam interacted with them and gave them food. He said, I have a family, I've got bills and stress. My family and I were heavily impacted by the killing of these little girls in Southport. Our hearts were broken as well. And, you know, it's a sort of heartwarming story. He reached out to a man protesting against his own mosque, and he said, amazing bridges were built. We shook hands with people, we hugged people, we gave out food to people. We also exchanged numbers and a promise to arrange an event in the mosque to have further discussions. Hopefully the beautiful interactions which happened last night can be continued. He says he believes that most of the people going to these protests are angry and fed up, struggling in their lives, whether it's cost of living, the NHS, or fear from hearing stories about Muslims taking over. How can we address this? We can address it by reaching out. He says it was reassuring to see, because there was a lot of concern in the community, a lot of fear as well. A lot of people have been messaging each other and staying at home and don't leave their houses. So to see the turnout of the people who actually came to support the mosque was powerful. But this is Liverpool. It's quite a unique place. And this is what happens. He says, we recognize that a lot of people who are Islamophobic, the reason that they have those fears is because they are genuinely worried. Whether those concerns are based on misinformation or of ignorance, that's another question. But you need to open channels of communication. This is the oldest mosque in the country. It's been there for 100 years and was founded by a British man. Don't protest against us, protest with us. Your concerns are also our concerns, whether it's gangs, terrorism, or extremism. Let's not just shout about it. Let's come together and join forces and actively do whatever's needed to start tackling these issues. And I think that this is such a good message to hear. The Observer today has an article that critically examines the disturbing events following the knife attack in Southport, which left the 3 girls dead, several others injured. And the author rightly condemns the far right's exploitation of the tragedy, spreading misinformation about the attacker, inciting violence across the UK. These actions, as reported, led to riots, vandalism, assaults on police and mosques. And the article underscores a crucial point: the threat posed by far-right extremists who, fueled by false narratives, seek to disrupt social cohesion and incite, fuel, promote hatred, racism. The immediate spread of false information, particularly claims that the attacker was an asylum seeker, was Muslim, reflects the pervasive and the dangerous role of disinformation in modern society. Where this information comes from, where this disinformation comes from, who knows? There are suggestions it comes from Russia, particularly through RT, and there are other national players, be in no doubt. But it wouldn't have any effect if it wasn't finding a receptive audience. This misinformation, amplified on social media, has a potent and a rapid impact, as seen by the swift escalation from online rumours to physical violence. And even when those rumours are challenged, the physical violence continues because people are in love with action. The response from some political figures, including Richard Tice and Nigel Farage, who questioned the authorities' handling of information and accused them of covering up the attacker's identity, further stoked tensions. And such statements, even if couched in ostensibly neutral language, can form soft incitement, subtly encouraging further unrest, providing a veneer of legitimacy to far-right narratives. And the broader context of these events highlights a worrying trend of far-right mobilization and the exploitation of social grievances. The riots, the demonstrations marked by chants of we want our country back, and violence against perceived symbols of multiculturalism reveal a deep-seated xenophobia that far-right groups like the Patriotic Alternative and remnants of the English Defence League are keen to exploit. The Observer rightly emphasises that the burden of countering this rising tide of far-right extremism does not rest solely on the government, but is a collective social responsibility. As individuals, there is a duty to stand against hate and support the principles of a diverse and inclusive society. Moreover, it's crucial for authorities and social media platforms to act decisively against the spread of misinformation and hate speech, ensuring that such dangerous narratives are swiftly addressed and mitigated. The events in Southport and the subsequent unrest underscore the urgent need for a unified response against right-wing extremism and the spread of disinformation. And that means greater access to real information. That means getting ahead of this narrative peddled by the far right. And this means firmly stamping on the far right muck spreaders, either silencing them or taking them through the courts. But the damage they have done has already been done. It's not just enough to be pointing a finger and saying, come here, Sonny, or whatever you say. It's about countering that narrative. And countering that narrative is more important than blaming individuals. The Southport incident and the and the riots that came in its wake serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of our society, the fragility of the unity of our society, which has been seriously threatened, the importance of vigilance and the measures that we need to take as a society. I think the actions of the fellow in the mosque, I think those actions are tremendous, and the work in the Abdullah Quilliam Mosque and Adam Kelwick, I think, cannot be underestimated. I think he is a very fine individual and leading from the front with a lot of bravery.